How you guys doing? I got a treat. How you guys doing? I got a treat for you today. The Dune set retails at $165. It uses the common black box art, but I like the brown shade in the back. The text font also makes this set feel premium. The back shows some action features, and I appreciate how the brick design is a sand color like the sand in the movie. Inside, there's some great packaging with these new super long plastic wing pieces that have a smooth, matte finish, a paper bag with a paper cloth gown, and a sponge cloth cape. A long axle, which is bendy, which kind of worries me a little bit, with the similar axle being used in Mike Sykes' Aston Martin, which it doesn't really work well over time for that gun feature, so hopefully it's not for this set. These large window pieces came in separate packaging, so they don't scratch, which is awesome. There are 10 bags and one instruction manual, which tells you about the lore, the characters, and a description of the set from Mike Sykes himself. During the building process, you can see Sykes' excellent use of the snot jumper plates to have the back stand angle fit almost perfectly with that entrance ramp. First up is Paul Atreides with his green clothing, which I like that it has the Royal Atreides symbol, but he mainly wears the Dune suit, which I would have preferred. I think the face is pretty accurate with the angled cheek lines, and I think a curly hair piece would have been better. Duncan Idaho is perfect with his white shirt, and the skin tone actually matches the look. At that, you can see his belt, which has a gravity function where he briefly does a flying kick in the film. I like the fairly new dagger piece. The face matches Jason Momoa really well, and although in the back you can sort of see his beard under the hair, but it sort of works. Lady Jessica has really nice printing for her dress piece flowing to the torso. The face print has that gold face wrap and a normal face, and you could swap it out from the hood to the regular hairpiece. Kind of bummer there's no printing on the back of that lower dress piece. Duke Leto Atreides comes in the Dune suit, which has excellent printing with the wires and tubing, and the layering is done really well. He has some gray in his beard, which is a nice touch, but would have liked to see it in his hair as well, sort of like with Doctor Strange, and an alternate face print. Chani, but at this point I just call her Zendaya, and poor Tom Holland. The blue eye print from the Spice looks really cool, an inverted scarf which is pretty accurate, a breathing apparatus print on the other side, and a white dagger. Dr. Liet Kynes has her hooks to ride the sandworm. Her cape has jagged edges, which is a nice change from the usual cape designs. Her face print also has blue eyes and an alternate face, and her braided hair has a really nice mold. Gurney Halleck sports a shiny silver armor with that Mandalorian Paz Vizsla armor with printing that matches the torso print underneath. The face print does a pretty good job of depicting Josh Brolin with some printing on the back and just a fun character. Lastly, Baron Harkonnen. Ooh. Using a transparent build to make it look like he's hovering, the long paper cloth design looks really nice. I think he's a little too high up though, as in the movie he only floats like a couple of feet. There's no printing underneath, which makes sense as you won't really see it anyway. I feel like the face print could have made him look a little bigger, as he is a pretty big boy in the movie. And it's also kind of fun to do this. Now, on to the set. Where to begin, man? The cockpit is truly phenomenal. Almost all of the gaps are covered, and it's really cool to look at, as you can see the inside at almost any angle. And there's so much translucent everywhere that it makes it feel so open, which is not actually the case, as you have a small space with 2 seats that you can take out. There's a control panel, and you can put your minifigs in. And they look really good inside. Even when opening the door hatch, the pieces flow seamlessly with each other, and I love how angular everything is. Using this old Star Wars piece works really well and quite nostalgic for me and for many Star Wars fans. You have these lights that you can adjust the angle of, but when they're at an angle, they sometimes bump into the retractable landing gear, but it's not too big of an issue. You can turn these knobs on either side, and so much happens in just one turning motion. The legs come out at an angle, and in the back, one comes straight down with some support, moving at another angle at the same time. It's just wild. I like the use of the telephone piece for the greeveling. Here's an inside look at that mechanism. It looks really nice when posed at an angle, and the knob to make that function work is kind of hard to reach with the wings pulled back. The Atreides symbol is printed on either side, which LEGO fans definitely appreciate over stickers. From a bird's eye view, there's some black showing, which I think they could have covered up a little more with a couple of extra gray pieces. There's a lot of red and yellow Technic pieces, which is very controversial for this set. Even a little bit of green here showing, so not the best. Looking at the tail, it uses the new slope pieces, and the back has exhaust ports that look good. Because of this Technic structure, you can hold it all the way in the back. But since it's very front heavy, it might hurt your hand after a while. Our next play feature involves this spring piece, which you can pull to have the wings come all the way out. This groove piece pushes up and down that makes the wings flap through the use of gravity, which is a really nice touch, but it can be hard to perform. If you're struggling, pull this up and then do it, and that should help. And after a while, this piece in the back will fall off as the feature pushes it out, so watch out for that. Here's an inside look of the mechanisms, kind of using a seesaw technique for the wings flapping. A really cool hinge build for the back design. I also thought it was really cool how this 90-degree Technic piece uses a hinge and snot techniques to connect to the top, showing how Mike Psyche has the most weird building techniques, but yet they somehow work. I think the biggest problem with this set is it's trying to balance between displayability and playability, and like the playability is amazing with the wings and the landing gear, but when you look at the displayability, there's certain parts where the Technic's just really exposed, and a lot of the colored pins, which I don't know why LEGO just didn't make black to blend in, but I guess it makes the building experience easier? Not really sure about that. And like with me, I know this is a Mike Psyche set, and I love Mike Psyche. If you look at his Mustang, Aston Martin, a lot of those cars that he does, like the playability is hidden within the displayability, so it kind of does both displayable and playable. And there's no interior as well, which is a bit of a bummer, but I mean, you could definitely see why, so that doesn't really bother me that much. To give you my perspective on this set, the movies were sort of my first experience to the DUNE franchise, and I really like it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I like Star Wars a little more, but it's funny because DUNE did come out first, and there's a lot of similarities, sometimes too much, but overall I really enjoy it. And this set was sort of a FOMO buy, basically the fear of missing out, because I saw all these people and I'm like, wow, it looks really cool. And I was a little bit unsure when buying it. And after building it, I would definitely say don't build it all in one day, especially if you don't do Technic a lot, because it'll hurt your hands a little bit, but I'm really happy with the set. If you're really not sure, I think this is a great purchase. I feel like there's certain sets too that live for a very long time on shelf, such as the Treehouse, which it's been retired multiple times and then it comes back, or the UCS Millennium Falcon. As much as I don't like it, I know a lot of people do like it, and it really holds that value and hype, and I feel like this DUNE set will definitely be one of those sets to have most LEGO fans be proud of, and you'll see a lot of people owning it. This set's just really good. You get a ton of minifigures. The playability is insane. I still think it does look really good. There's just minor parts where it's not as good when you compare it to other sets by Mike Psyche. And the price is probably a little high. I mean, you get a lot of exclusive parts, like those long wings, no stickers, just prints, which is great. I mean, you don't even have to be the biggest fan of DUNE. It's just a cool spaceship in general. So yeah, thanks for watching and take care.